The Cowboys get a 45-10 Thanksgiving win over the Washington Commanders in Week 12 of the NFL season, and we welcome you in to Special Edition from the Star in Frisco, breaking it down for you and getting you ready for a Thursday night football matchup with the Seattle Seahawks on the docket this week. We have Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton down there at the end. I'm Kyle Yeomans. It was another phenomenal Thanksgiving holiday. The Cowboys win a divisional matchup, and it's their 7th game where they've won by 20 points or more in their 13th straight home win at AT&T Stadium. I mean, there's so many different storylines for this game, but I'll start things off with just the home dominance. Isaiah, actually, I'll start with Barry. Let's start with Barry here.
Okay.
Whenever you talk about the home field advantage, has it finally become a legitimate thing for this Cowboys franchise?
It's got to be. I mean, we're talking 14 straight right now. Home victories.
13 going on 14.
Going on 14 because they're going to win that game versus Seattle. That's another story. 13 straight. When you talk about being at AT&T Stadium, it's got to be a home field advantage for this guys. The crowd is going crazy. We all hear it on kickoff. We all hear it on third down, and the players feed off of that energy coming from the stadium. So to me, they've got to make sure they rattle off a couple wins to at least try to get one home playoff game.
These guys are blowing out anybody who decides to step foot into AT&T Stadium. Also, these guys have never trailed this year at AT&T Stadium. So that combination right there lets you know that the fans are bringing the fire. And when the fans bring the fire, guess what? The players feel the heat.
I agree with you 100% there, Isaiah. The fans are bringing the heat, but the players are playing well. They're looking good. And, you know, they play on the even keel. Now, they play hard. They play right here all the time. And then when you make that mistake, they jump to another level. And with the fans behind them, they're an exciting team to watch.
I don't think they're looking as good as Nate Newton is in the blue velvet. Got to point it out here on Special Edition. But Dak Prescott might be the one that's continuing the challenge that he had another 4-touchdown game. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's done that more than any other Cowboys quarterback in franchise history. Isaiah, what's impressed you the most by what Dak has been doing?
17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions over the last 5 games.
That's wild.
I'm going to run that back for you. 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. When you have a quarterback that's playing at that level, that is absolutely ridiculous. You're going to give your team an opportunity to win ball games. He's not turning it over, and his boys are absolutely making plays for him.
I agree with you 100%. I tell you what, Dak, just keep doing what you're doing, moving around, helping your offensive line, checking down to the right plays, making sure we never seem like we're in a bad play, and find just Brandon Cooks just a little bit more.
Yeah, when you talk about just 2 interceptions in that span, it all comes down to decision making. You know, he's not compounding errors like he did last year, trying to force feed guys in there. He's using all his weapons out there, from CeeDee Lamb to Cooks to Gallup to Ferg. Daddle is even out there getting touchdowns as well. So to me, he's using everything, and it's super impressive. We see him using his legs as well in this offense. When you talk about him using his weapons like that, it almost becomes impossible for defenses to game plan for them.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott continuing to spread around the love a little bit. Barry, from a defensive standpoint, how does that keep you off balance in the secondary if there's a number of weapons you have to worry about?
Well, it's all about matchups, in my opinion. And when you look at CeeDee Lamb, you think, all right, we're going to double team him and just leave the rest of these guys solo because we can lock those guys up. No, you got Mr. Consistency, Brandon Cooks out there, 6 1,000-yard seasons. You can't leave him by himself. Then you try to go to him, you got Gallup as well. It just makes it extremely hard to match up with all that talent out there. And then when you do find a great matchup in your favor, they're going to go ahead and exploit something else. And Dak Prescott is using his arms and his legs. Like I said, it makes it almost impossible to plan for.
It's a pick your poison scenario,
Yes.
kind of like what offenses are doing with the defense. If you get past the pass rush, then you have to deal with Deron Bland. 5 pick sixes this year, a new single-season NFL record, plus he has 7 on the campaign total. I mean, Nate, when you're looking at what Deron Bland's doing, it's historic, but also mind-boggling.
I tell you what now, to me, as an offensive lineman, as a fan, it's entertaining. I can't tell you how this kid is doing it. I know where he's come from. I know where he's at. Hats off to Al Harris and those group of guys. Barry can tell you more probably.
Shout out to the coaching staff. Shout out to his preparation and his film study, and then utilizing his attributes to be able to accelerate, break on the ball, get out of his breaks, and go make the play. These quarterbacks think that they have time. He's showing them that you absolutely do not.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when you're able to make points for your offense defensively, I mean, there's no coming back from that. I mean, you look at who's in the race for Defensive Player of the Year right now. I believe it's just him and Myles Garrett out there. And to me, touchdowns for interceptions count more than just sacks out there. So he's got to be in the lead, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's impressive what he's been doing. And you can see even the reaction on the sidelines. He is well loved in that locker room, and the respect is there across the board. And, I mean, you continue to see him play better and better as the year goes on. and he's doing so stepping up in the place of Trayvon Diggs in that opportunity as well. When we come back here on Special Edition, we check in with Nicole Hutchison. Of course, it was Thanksgiving. We all had our own fair share of meals and the desserts and Deron Bland pick sixes, but what do the players think about Thanksgiving and the holiday after their win?
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
Well, it was a happy Thanksgiving for the Dallas Cowboys with their 45-10 win over the Washington Commanders, but it wasn't just about what happened on the field. It was about the celebration off the field. And thanks to Texas Lotto and our very own Nicole Hutchison, we got a chance to catch up with some of the Cowboys players about what they enjoy best around Thanksgiving.
When you think of Thanksgiving, what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Food. What all I'm thankful for. And then second, food.
Enjoy food, enjoy the taste, enjoy the seasoning. I got a grandmother that cooks it up.
What does your Thanksgiving Day plate look like?
So my Thanksgiving plate, okay, here we go. We got greens with hot sauce, mac and cheese. I don't like yams. I like turkey, a little bit of turkey, ham, cornbread stuffing, cranberries, and I want some beets. Yup.
You lost me with the beets.
Fortunately for me, I was born with aunts that can cook, so they went crazy. We had macaroni, greens, dressing, every pie you could imagine.
Had to choose between having sides on your plate or a dessert on your plate. What you going with?
I'm going with sides for sure. I'm not too big on dessert.
Probably go with the desserts. You got pumpkin pie. I think we do like carrot cake.
I'm gonna go sides all day, y'all.
Side.
I definitely gotta get some greens. I need the greens.
Sides.
If you have to choose between pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie. The face says it all.
Neither one.
Sweet potato pie, gotta have it.
What's your favorite memory about Thanksgiving?
Man, my favorite memory, probably playing basketball with my uncles in Shreveport.
2014, my grandma actually had a birthday around this time every single year, so we'll get together every 10 years. And when I say it was a dish from every single person in our family, I mean, you had it all. Turkey, ham, mashed potato. I mean, you had it all.
Honestly, I don't know if there's one particular one. Always watching Cowboy games, eating with the family, just enjoying cousins, grandmas, getting to go see both sets of grandparents. Just always such a fun time, grateful time. Nothing's changed. Now just getting to play the game on Thanksgiving is a blessing.
Always a blessing, both on and off the field for the Dallas Cowboys. No time, though, to rest after having all the turkey and stuffing this past weekend. You got to turn around and play the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football this week. When we come back, Geno Smith and company are headed to AT&T Stadium. Can the Cowboys have their home success continue into Week 13?
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. This segment is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
In Week 13, the Dallas Cowboys will put their 8-3 record on the line and their 13-game AT&T Stadium win streak on the line against the Seattle Seahawks. Thursday Night Football. Back here with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. Isaiah, I've got to start with you on this one. You were Seattle born and raised. You've got an eye on that team really as the season goes on. Tell me about Geno Smith. What does he bring to the table, and how is he going to get after this Dallas offense, or Dallas defense, rather?
Yeah, well, Geno Smith is a veteran. He's been around for a long time. People don't realize how long he's been around. He can make all the throws, and also he can utilize his legs. The one positive thing about him is he makes good decisions. He tries his best not to put these guys in bad situations by turning the ball over. But that has kind of went the other way over the past few games. They've had a tough sled recently. Obviously had a tough game against the 49ers as well. And these guys are just continually trying to find his resources, trying to get the ball to Metcalf, trying to get the ball to, Kenneth Walker was out, but obviously he'll be trying to come back as well. It's just these guys have a lot of the tools, and he just has to continue to utilize them the best he can.
Yeah, this will be a big-time game for the Dallas defensive line because they got to make things hard for Geno Smith back there. He's proven over, these past couple years with Seattle that if he has the time back there, he certainly has the weapons with Metcalf and those boys that he can make defenses pay back there. So to me, it's got to be on this defensive line to heat things up and make him uncomfortable throughout this game.
I'll get you. Tyler Lockett, we can't forget about him. This guy sneak down the seam or he'll find an open hole in the zone and make people pay. So we have to stay on top of this team.
We'll talk more about those weapons in a moment, but let's talk about the ground game because Kenneth Walker banged up. He's been in and out of the lineup all year long. It's a completely different attack whenever it's Zach Charbonnet or DJ Dallas in the ground game. Barry, as a defender, which one challenges you the most?
It's got to be Kenneth Walker when you talk about a running back. This guy is physical, low to the ground, and he got his quads like Quadzilla out there. You do not want to go at this guy low or high. He will run straight through you. So if he's able to go out there, it's going to be a tall task for this defense, especially that front seven with the linebacking core. They've got to come downhill on a guy like this.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but the thing is, these guys have a trifecta in the backfield. You just mentioned a handful of those guys, and they use them as a committee. If one guy goes down, the next man simply just steps up. It seems like that's always the case in Seattle. They always find a way to get somebody to step into that role.
Coach Carroll is going to run the ball. He's going to be stubborn about it. He believes in it, and they'll keep coming downhill. You may stop them early in the game, but they believe that they can pound you into submission. So we have to be in our gaps, alignment, assignment, sound.
Yeah, you're going to have alignment and assignment in the secondary as well. 3 weapons, maybe even 4 weapons if you want to count Noah Fant in there as well. But DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then, of course, Rockwall, Texas native, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Nate, there are weapons abundant on this offense. Which one scares you the most?
Lockett. We know what Big Metcalf can do. He can get downfield and make some things and take the top. But this Lockett will find open holes in your defense, man, and he will make you pay. And if the quarterback scrambles, man, he always seems to know where to be on the field.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nate. When you talk about wide receivers, Lockett, he's Mr. Consistency. He brings it all. He can do everything from intermediate routes to deep routes, and he seems to have a great wavelength with Geno Smith. But when you talk about Metcalf out there, this guy's a total monster, a total beast that can go up, get those 50-50 yard or 50-50 balls, and also has great yard after catch. So it's going to be imperative to have Dallas have great tackling out there. He's going to get his. He's going to get his receptions. They got to be bang bang. Don't let him just get a catch and turn it into a 50-yard game.
Yeah, it's got to be bang bang. But for Seattle, it's bang 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 because these guys have a 3-headed monster at receiver, and there's a ton of speed on the field all at one time. And it comes to different sizes and different abilities. You got one guy in Jigba who's quick as all get out. You got Tyler Lockett who's just straight speed, and then you have the doggone Decepticon in Metcalf who you have to deal with as well. So in terms of Dallas's defense and who they're going to put up against these guys, it's going to be very interesting who they decide to play man against.
I didn't know there were Transformers in Seattle. I had no idea about that with DK Metcalf. Keep your eye on Jackson Smith and Jigba as well, but you also got to keep an eye on the defense. Of course, Pro Bowlers at every level across the board, some in different stages of their career. But Barry, when you look at this defense, what stands out the most?
It's got to be their secondary. When you got guys on that level that have Pro Bowl talent, have been to the Pro Bowl. I'm talking about Jamal Adams. I'm talking about Quandre Diggs, 2 of the best safeties in the National Football League. Kind of a thunder and playmaking ability out of both of them, the way Jamal Adams comes downhill. And then you talk about the young rookie. I believe his name's Witherspoon, number 21.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon.
This guy is all over the place. When you talk about playing nickelback, safety, he blitzes, he can get interceptions out there, he covers as well. So to me, when they bring CeeDee Lamb into the slot like that, he's going to have a tough matchup against Witherspoon.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Their secondary is definitely the strength of their team, and they know that. So what do? They go out there and start adding some help. They bring in big Leonard Williams. They have Bobby Wagner, who came back this year. So now their front seven is starting to get a lot more sure, and they're going to start causing some problems for opposing offenses.
I like Bobby Wagner, man. He's a good leader. He lines everybody up. He has 3 sacks, and he's just all over the field. He's the ultimate playmaker, and they know how to use him in this scheme.
Yeah, he's just like a tackle machine. He's had 100 tackles almost every year of his career. And Barry mentioned some of these young secondary players. Not only did they have a Rookie of the Year candidate in Reek Woolen on the outside, a UTSA product last year, but then they go and they spend a first-round pick on Devin Witherspoon. He's in that conversation as well this time around. So they continue to reload on defense. Seattle, it's not the Legion of Boom, but, man, they've got talent across the board. Something of a challenge for this Dallas offense going into this matchup this week. When we come back, well, we're going to take a look around the NFL. The Cowboys game's already in the books. What else is in stake for the Week 12 slate for this NFL season? Josh Allen and company on Special Edition next.
This segment was brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Welcome back into Special Edition. So the Cowboys took care of business on Thursday. We might as well get you ready for the NFL slate here in Week 12 as, of course, games across the board other than the 6 teams that played on Thanksgiving. Let's start things off with Barry Church's former team. It's not Saxonville anymore. It's just Jacksonville. But they do have a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who's playing some good football. They're 7-3. What do they got in store this week?
Well, they got the Houston Texans coming to town, and C.J. Stroud, who's been having an unbelievable rookie season out there. It's going to be a battle for first place. You got the 7-3 Jacksonville Jaguars, the 6-4 Houston Texans, who had already beaten Jacksonville at their place earlier this season. So this should be a great game to keep your eyes on. But, of course, I'm going with Duval in this situation.
Of course, what a season it's been for Houston. I mean, 6 wins already. They weren't expected to be anywhere close to that mark. Huge credit to that coaching staff and then what C.J. Stroud is doing. You can say the same thing without their quarterback in Cleveland. Nate, whenever it comes to the Cleveland Browns, they don't have Deshaun Watson anymore. They have Dorian Thompson-Robinson playing quarterback, still playing well up to this point.
Oh, yeah, they playing well, and they got Kareem Hunt at the running back. But what is amazing is how Myles Garrett is playing right now. He had 13 sacks. He's in the Defensive Player of the Year, so it's going to be a great game because everybody counted Sean Payton out, them in the Denver Broncos. They started 1-6. Now the last 4 games, they're 4-0. So they're coming. They're a tough team and well coached. 2
of the biggest questions you could say in the NFL because Cleveland, without all these injuries, no Nick Chubb, no Deshaun Watson, they're still winning games because of that defense. Denver, who looked like one of the biggest messes in the NFL, all of a sudden has found their rhythm, and they're back at 500 with Sean Payton at the head coaching spot and then Russell Wilson at the quarterback spot. And then, Isaiah, I think you probably have the best game of the week, at least on the back half, the later slate. Buffalo and Philadelphia. Can Buffalo upset the Eagles?
They can, but will they? That is the question. You talk about Buffalo and Philadelphia, 2 teams that the Dallas Cowboys have on the docket coming up on the second half of this season. Both teams they will be watching closely. 2 really good quarterbacks. The Bills haven't been playing so great. Philadelphia has barely been beaten. It's going to be a heck of a showdown. I'm looking forward to see how this game turns out.
Yeah, it's impressive what Philadelphia has continued to do as the season has gone on. They haven't been winning by margins like the Cowboys have. They haven't been winning by 20-plus points, but they're winning all their games. I mean, to this point, their only loss of the season was against that New York Jets squad earlier in the campaign. But hey, we've got more Cowboys football to look forward to as well. You don't have to wait super long. It's Thursday Night Football, Cowboys and Seahawks. Can Tony Pollard continue to get that ground game working in the right direction? We'll give you our keys to the game and look ahead to Thursday Night Football right after this.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Final segment here of Special Edition. It is a Week 12, Week 13 episode because we're looking ahead to the Thursday Night Football matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. Cowboys at 8-3. Isaiah Stanback, what's your key to the win?
I think these boys just have to continue not turning the ball over. If they can figure that out and find a way to get to Geno Smith, they'll be good to go.
Yeah, speaking of Geno Smith, you got to make this team one-dimensional. If you're relying on Seattle to throw the football, I think you stand a great chance.
I tell you what, we gotta run that ball. We got to pick it up for probably about another 10 to 15 carries, man. Make sure we're about 35 carries at the end of this game. Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, I know you've been grabbing for it, Isaiah. It's coming.
Yes. A little bit more Rico Dowdle, Tony Pollard, get that ground game rolling. Nate Newton, what's your prediction? Can the Cowboys keep the win streak alive?
We got to win this game by 1. It's back. We ain't all the cupcakes are over, boy. Pete Carroll is coming.
He said 40-0 last week, might I add. They won 45-10, so he was only 5 points off from it. But this time he only says 1 point. So that means he really thinks it's going to be a close game, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's a different type of game. game. Now, by the way, if you are going to the stadium on Thursday, we will be out there. Cowboys pregame live getting started 6 p.m. Central Time on the AT&T East Plaza. We'll be out there for postgame as well. Hope you'll join us out at AT&T Stadium. It's the Cowboys and the Seahawks. For Isaiah, Barry, Nate, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next week for more Special Edition.